All right, let's go.
This is the Ray and Adam Show, brought to you by inplayLIVE. The Ray and Adam Show, a podcast where Ray and Adam, two professional sports bettors and brothers, talk about all things sports investing, sports betting, and how to profit in the long run from betting on sports and fantasy football. And now, the Ray and Adam Show, brought to you by inplayLIVE.
Let's go. Love the new intro. Way to go, Chesto. For those of you who don't know, Chesto is Pacer's brother. Took the new audio and created a little video in the background. Looks great. So way to go, Chesto. Best producer in the world. Way to go. How you doing, guys?
What's going on?
Pretty good.
Yeah, awesome.
Coming off a nice little weekend.
Nice little weekend and a sneaky little Tuesday yesterday.
Sneaky.
Yeah. They're going to rewrite that Rolling Stone song, Ruby Tuesday. They're going to rewrite Sneaky Tuesday.
Yeah, we're on it. We'll have it ready for next week.
Yeah. Does that break copyright if we do like Weird Al covers? Is that okay?
As long as I was actually going to see if we can get Weird Al on.
He's got a movie to promote.
That bypasses any liability on that.
Yeah, Chesto, see if you can get Weird Al on when you get a minute.
Yeah.
But this week, we've got someone even better than Weird Al. We've got Cazz and Schroeder. Thanks for coming on, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Ray, before we get started with the interview, why don't you tell everybody where to find us on social media and whatnot?
All right. We still do that.
Yep.
Okay. So every week we do a live show. If you're on the show right now, you know what? If you're listening to the recording, just know that you can go on Twitter or Instagram, look in our storylines, and we will have the link to the live webinar where you can watch with hundreds of other members who, for the most part, are up hundreds of thousands of dollars betting on sports. And if not, just make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, and you won't miss a thing.
Yeah, there you go. And everybody, please bet responsibly. Don't need anybody doing anything silly, but if you're a member of inplayLIVE, you already know that there's a great curriculum on not just how to win, but how to manage your bankroll and all those things. So it's a wonderful group. Encourage everybody to join. So with that said, thanks everybody for tuning in. We've got a great show today. So we have Cazz and Schroeds. I've been lucky enough to spend a few crazy nights with Cazz and a couple with Schroeds as well. We've had some good times together. We're going to tell a couple of those stories later in the show. We'll tell the PG versions of those stories. My God, we had a couple of doozies. But with that said, opening weekend, NFL, it was a fun weekend. How'd you guys do?
Very well. Tampa Bay game on Monday night was that the Monday night game or the Sunday night
Sunday
game?
Yeah.
And then last night's game was phenomenal too for catching a bunch of them unders at the end there.
Yeah, I thought the Monday nighter was definitely my most profitable of the week. It was great. And we're gonna have some shame here soon talking about our pregame picks last week, or our player props last week, that we were almost a goose egg on. It was hilarious. Like, got a lot of things right last week. They didn't really translate into the player props that we wanted. We got a couple right, but the best pick I made all week was I posted on our Twitter page. I like Javonte Williams over receiving yards. For those of you not following on Twitter, please do so. It was a great pick. He had, I think it was 11 targets receiving. And the bet that I got him at plus 500 for over 50 yards, which was pretty nice. I absolutely love that Bet365 has changed their a couple of their pregame player prop options. I don't know if you guys have seen, but now they offer milestone wagers for receiving and rushing yards, the same way they do in NBA basketball for points and stuff like that. It's awesome. It is so good. So if you like a guy that, you think could have some outsized production, it's a great way to get it. And the beauty of this time of year is that, you know, we're less certain about what teams are going to try to do, but that's also where you can get crazy value if you're right on any speculation on game script. So anyway, it was a funny week. The Bills game, Ray and I think we're reasonably happy with the Bills' performance. A few turnovers that weren't all that great, but I don't know, Ray, what'd you think of that Thursday nighter?
Well, I had them minus 48.5, so I just missed out on that win.
Yeah, that was.
Other than that, I guess it was all right.
Did you guys see the stat that for the first time in NFL history, a team has had 0 punts in 3 of their last 4 regular season games?
Is that what it is? And they didn't punt in the playoffs last year either, did they?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. They we should maybe apply for that job.
Well, he's the highest paid. He's the highest paid holder in NFL history. All he does is hold field goals.
But he's damn good at it, though.
Oh shit! He puts it right down, kicks it through.
Forget his name. I think it's that Wiener kid always has his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, that guy.
They could use him in Cincinnati.
Yeah, my God, how many field goal kickers were sweating a little bit? Hey, my God,
that was their snapper that went down. Hey, they ended up with like a backup tight end snapping, which like McPherson's usually pretty solid, but it doesn't take much to throw those guys off.
No, crazy. Guys, let's get your story before we get into more. Give me your background. Where did you come from? What does sports betting mean to you? What's it done for your life? Cazz, I love your story. I've heard it before, but let's share it with the masses.
Which one did you hear?
Give me the true one. I don't know. Maybe I heard the false one.
I don't really know your story outside of being a pretty good shortstop and slow pitch, but yeah, well, let's hear it.
There's not a big story. I have a bar here in Pennsylvania, and I had a couple of vape shops and 2 vape shops, which I now sold. And me and Kenny and Rick were all pretty much lifelong losers at gambling. Big time donators, like everybody else probably that was on here at some point in their lives. And you know, we just Kenny and Rick came across a couple of things that we started doing, and things turned around really fast, and we just started making a lot of money. And the online sites are really turned that on. I mean, we found ourselves waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning during COVID to watch Chinese baseball and finding locked lines with games over for 20 minutes. And they pay, like, we built a lot of bankroll on just error lines when these books started to open up. There was so many errors, it wasn't even funny. And basketball middling, we all built our bankrolls on basketball middling until we got too much money where basketball middling wasn't worth it for us anymore, because a lot of times you might win 10,000 here and lose 10,000 here, and now one of your accounts is getting banned, you won $0. Where you could take advantage of the stuff we do now with the hockey or this and that, and you should be guaranteed to win money in every account that you have.
Wow, your skill set is improving. So, I mean, you gotta up that hourly wage when you're putting this time in.
Yeah. And then joining inplayLIVE, I mean, it's been great. I mean, we were already doing our thing, the little Jersey Mafia. We had our little group of 5 people, and we were going down to Kenny's house down in Ocean City, New Jersey, and we were doing our little thing down there. And then somehow Kenny found Andrew, and we brought a couple of things to the table, and he brought a bunch of things to our table, and it just gave us a longer gambling year because we weren't touching hockey and
right.
certain things at the time. And my God, how much money that we've all made off of hockey. We all know that. So here we are. It's been life-changing. I mean, still haven't busted 7 figures yet, but I'm very close. It's coming.
Close?
I'm close. I'm under $100,000 away. So
way to go.
Here we go.
It'll be
a couple good weeks. You'll be there.
You're 7 figures Canadian, Cazz, so you can celebrate.
Yeah,
that.
Right. I know that's like 200,000 Canadian.
Hey,
Well, here, Cazz, I'm gonna do something for you right now. So, for those that don't know, everybody who shows up on the Ray and Adam show, they instantly, like the next week, they make a shitload of money. So I'm blessing you. There's $100,000 coming in the next. I'm gonna say probably 12 days. You're gonna be announcing it. What's the date today? We got. Today is the 14th.
Yeah.
Over under on Cazz breaking 7 figures is September 26th. I got the under.
Ooh.
There you go.
Well, the 26th is a Monday. I think that might be it.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just saying. That's what I like.
Did you ever think you'd be like a guest host on a podcast with a couple of guys from Saskatchewan?
Wow, I didn't know you were from Saskatchewan.
All the best people are.
Have you heard of Saskatchewan?
I know. It's in.
Nah.
I bet you half your bankroll you can't spell it.
Oh my God. Is that part of Russia or something?
Basically, we get Siberia weather up here, so
yeah. And so for those just learning about sports betting, you may have heard Cazz mention middling. So this isn't an in-play live strategy. This is a widely known sports betting strategy where you basically play 2 books off against each other who have differing lines, and you try to get in the middle of those lines. And if you do that, you win both, but you're guaranteed to win one and, like, at worst win one and lose the other. But if you can get in the middle, and the way I describe middling, for anybody who's ever seen the movie Rounders, the John Turturro character, his name is Kanish, and he's just the grinder, and he just goes and grinds out a living to feed his family. That's what I describe middling. Like, it's a grind. It's not the funnest way to bet, but I get asked all the time from people saying, how big of a bankroll do I need? How should I do it? And it's a really, really great way to build that bankroll is to middle, because you don't, if you know what you're doing, you don't really have to worry about losing too much money while you do it. It's a really, really good way to go. But then, as you said, Cazz, once your bankroll gets big enough, it doesn't really work anymore because you can't get enough on both sides to make it worth your while.
Yeah. And then the problem that we had early on with that, and Kenny had, especially because he bet triple what we were betting on each side, is funding the account. So we were starting with middle. Say you start with $1,500 in 3 accounts, and now you win $1,500 here and lose $1,500 here. You had to replenish that money because you couldn't withdraw instantaneously. It would take a day or two sometimes. So you had to make sure you had a account behind there to refund the lost account.
Yeah. So it's
none of us were loaded when we started, so we were all working with the bare minimums for the most part.
Yeah.
So that was the struggle early on. So make sure you start your middle slow so you don't run out of money in one account and the other. But yeah, once you get money, it's not worth losing the account over 10. Well, over whatever your budget is.
Yeah, for sure. Schroeder, let's hear your story, buddy. So that's the Chicago skyline in your background. I'm guessing.
That it is. Yeah, Soldier Field, somewhere back there at the lake.
Jeez, home of the 1-0 Chicago Bears, and also home of the baseball team that broke the season record for the highest or the biggest underdog to win a baseball game this year last night. Plus 340 Cubs to beat DeGrom. No big deal.
Wow. Did they?
Yeah, plus 340. Biggest dog all year that won.
Wow.
Yeah, this time of the year, you see some crazy lines in baseball. I mean, you see some plus 400s. You see, when a good stud pitcher like DeGrom or Scherzer's on the mound, you're going to see those plus 400 odds. You could take plus 2 on the other side and just play the odds in your favor.
Yeah.
So that's the way to go handle those games, especially
late. Trout record? I didn't see last night. I know, wasn't Trout going for the record like 8 games in a row with a home run? Was that last night?
I think so. I didn't really watch.
I didn't see if he actually did it, but he had 7 games in a row with a home run. Can you imagine?
Jeepers.
7 games in a row in a home run. And I think he was going for 8th, and I think there was 3 that did it. I forget who. I know Griffey was one of them.
Griffey was one. Yeah, I remember that.
I forget the other 2 offhand. So somebody in chat here says that we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, someone in the chat, throw that in there.
That's amazing to hit 7 home runs in a row. crazy.
Yeah,
And
bonkers.
watching Aaron Judge do what he's doing. Aaron Judge is just an absolute beast right now. He's every day hitting a homer or two. Hopefully he passes Maris's number here.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I think that's a lock that he'll pass Maris, but he still has an outside shot at Bonds. I love when athletes bet on themselves. Like I love what Lamar's doing right now, betting on himself. Judge betting on himself the way he did. Like, my God, what's his contract going to be? It should be the highest ever, right? Is that like he'll break the record?
I mean, I would think Ohtani is going to be up there. Personally, I think you get a little bit more money from Ohtani than Judge, but that's what do I know? I'm not a GM, right? But yeah, you're right.
I agree with that.
They're going to be monster contracts. I mean, seeing what they're doing, correlating back just to kind of like with my background, a little different than Cazz. I started betting to pay for college. I had a local bookie when I was going to Illinois State, and my roommates and we would bet games, and a lot of times we would lose, and sometimes we'd win, and we were definitely degenerate gamblers, like most. We thought we knew everything. You go into a room and you ask people what their opinion is on the Tom Brady Patriots back in the day. It's always the favorites, right? Everybody bets on the favorites, and we were no different in college. And
favorites and overs.
Yeah, it's favorites and overs, and you start factoring in those losses. And being a data guy, I was studying computer science at that time, and I didn't like losing, so I started to get more data. And I started to use different programs. I started to try to find different things online that could help me get an edge on sports betting. There's a myriad of things that I've tried, from StatFox to Sports Insights, which I still use, to Killer Sports Database. And all these type of things would give you maybe a 2 to 4% edge, typically betting unders, underdogs, line movements, reverse line movements. And luckily I found inplayLIVE on a Facebook ad. And a lot of communication back and forth with Pace. I pretty much told them that if I didn't get a free trial, I wasn't going to try this because it's probably a scam. I literally was like, who is this guy?
Scam ever.
He's not going to give us he's not going to give me a trial for a few days. Sure, just take my $100 and you're going to disappear. Do that to enough people and you'll make a decent amount of money.
That's so
luckily,
funny.
Luckily signed up, and honestly, within one day, I paid for a year's worth of membership. Yeah. And, it's just been skiing downhill ever since. The sports things, you guys hear me say this all the time, and I know a lot of people here may not know me, but, we're going to make money on sports. It's going to happen. And the relationships that we've built through inplayLIVE, you can't put a price tag on it. Just so many great guys, and to turn an average betting career to a phenomenal betting career. Most guys in this group are making 6 figures plus a year on a side income, and some it's their main income. And what Pace, Raj, and the crew have come up with is just, this conduit is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and I think you touched on something there, Schroeds. Like, I think that replicating the picks and the like the strategies and things like that, like that's one thing. Like there's some, like, I'm sure that there's other great sports bettors out there that could figure that out. The part that I have no idea how anybody would ever replicate is how they created this community. Like the culture in this group, you've got a bunch of testosterone. Well, like we're mostly men. I think we're up to 15 or 20 women. Mostly men in the group, and you've got a bunch of, testosterone filled, often, a couple too many rums or whiskeys. You're hot under the collar. You're betting piles of money on the weekend. There's the odds, verbal scrap that we have, but for the most part, the camaraderie and just the community is the part that I don't think anybody outside the group could possibly understand. Like, it really is remarkable. Like I've lost count of how many great friends I've made, like lifelong friends through this group. It's amazing.
Yeah. And how many bags championships you've won.
How many what?
How many bags championships you've won along the way?
Is that cornhole?
Yeah,
is that what they call it? Oh, like there might be a trophy.
In Chicago, we call it bags.
Yeah, we call it bags, cornhole bags.
Are you talking about this?
Oh,
you're breaking
Does
up.
it piss you guys off more that I've only played cornhole twice in my life, and in one of those times I won a championship with 100 with my partner? Like, does it bother you? Like, because you guys all practice and whatnot?
I don't really
show
care.
up and win.
It bothered me more that I lost at the Charm than anything.
Yeah, I can't say that. And you know what? If I would have, it would have bothered me too. So Charmy and I were roommates on that trip, and we went home or went back to our room, and I brought my speaker in the shower with me, and I played "We Are the Champions" on repeat over and over, and I had an extra long shower, and I just had to listen to him giggling out there while I was playing "We Are the Champions." Not that I care, like it's just it's just beanbag toss. Like any kindergarten kid could do it. I don't know what your guys' problem is. It's super easy.
We did well all day, and then we just both hit a rut. But I mean, there was how many teams did we have? 40, 43, 45.
Yeah, I think
all I know is only one got 50. One of these.
Yeah,
a lot of teams didn't
not
end
that
up
you
with
care
this
or anything, because it doesn't mean anything, right?
No, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying. I know you guys care.
He's like the Blake Shelton of inplayLIVE, always showing off his trophies.
Well, not always. I mean, I've had it for a while. It's the first time I've showed. I mean, you guys brought it up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think we missed the award for Ray and the Pearl Jam cover. I mean, Ray should have definitely gotten an award for the best Pearl Jam cover ever.
Yeah. That first night, if I didn't get a chance to apologize to everybody, one of the bartenders was really making them stiff that night, and I got I got just a little extra drunk that night, and I thought I was Eddie Vedder singing Yellow Ledbetter. It was
my favorite part of that story was when you went up to the Pai Gow table and on your third hand said, "This isn't blackjack."
that was the next night. I think.
That was the next night. Oh.
Yeah. I was leveled up by then.
Oh,
wait, Hiddle says you got him kicked off the Pai Gow table.
Yeah, I did.
Probably
but at least I made the beanbag tournament. Hiddle left his partner high and dry the next day. So
yeah, and Hiddle practiced for like 3 months leading up to that. Couldn't even make it. And actually, he sniped the worst hangover award from you, Ray. You would have a trophy right now for worst hangover if it wasn't for him.
He big long shot to win that award. And
yeah, I didn't.
Hiddle could smack a softball though. Hiddle could smack a softball pretty good.
Yeah, he's sneaky. He's sneaky good.
Yeah, that was a fun softball tournament. It was nice to take down that team with a certain member, Pace. It was nice to take him down that first game. I know he loves hearing that.
You guys were the team
USA.
Yes. We never got to play Team USA last year. We'll have to make sure we're in your bracket next year.
We were
Team Alberta
slow around the bases.
What's that?
We were a little slow around the bases.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I watched you from afar, and that's the way it looked from where I was sitting too.
It was like watching a glacier around third.
How great is it to have live lines on our softball tournament?
Yeah.
While we're playing in the game, having a couple hundred guys making live wagers during our games. It's just that's what we're all about, just having fun. And when you put these faces together after an event, anyone listening to this, you sign up as a member and everyone becomes family. And we have these retreats in Vancouver for our pro team, and you're meeting hundreds of people that are, six-figure, $1 million a year guys. You're networking with some of the best people in the world, period, at sports betting and life in general. I mean, this crew is awesome. And whether we're playing softball, bags, rooftop party, having a beer, listening to cover from Pearl Jam, winning money at Pai Gow, playing poker,
Blondie.
It was awesome.
It's
all great stuff. And again, inplayLIVE is the foundation, all of that.
Yeah,
Blondie.
for sure.
Don't forget Blondies.
I think he's talking about
beers, Blondale beers.
Yeah.
They don't have those in in Pennsylvania. Guys, let's talk about sports betting for a little bit. So, Schroeds, I got to say, like, you're one of my favorite guys in the group, really good friend, but I've got this love-hate with your picks. So, like, when Schroeds posts his picks, by the way, there's one pregame pick that he makes that is I've never lost on it. So, Schroed, talk about the wind blowing out strategy, and then I'm going to talk about the thing I hate about your picks. But I want to hear the Wrigley wind blowing out strategy. Tell everybody about this because it's awesome.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, I'm out in Chicago. I'm on a rooftop right here. I'm a mile away from Wrigley Field. I'm on Sports Insights, and that tells you the wind direction as well. And when the wind's blowing out in Wrigley, if it's 12 miles per hour or more, you don't think, you bet the over. You get the Gertz hammer out and you hammer the over because it's going to be over.
Usually they go over by like the fourth inning.
Pretty much. I mean, you pop the ball up at Wrigley and it's out. And there's days where the wind's blowing 20 plus miles per hour. And if you think about it, the sports books could only react so much. If the over under is 9, they can really only move that up to 10, maybe 11, or they're going to get middled. And the books can't adjust quick enough. And the weather changes 700 times a minute here in Chicago. So there's only so much that they can do. And we just sit back and count the money.
Yeah, they are great. So that's the thing I love the most about Schroeder's picks. Like, his picks are great. That's the one strategy that I love the most because and the best part is, like, I'm not going on some weather app to see if he's right. He walks by the freaking stadium. Like, he walks by Wrigley Field and okay, we're good. Like, wind's blowing the right way. Let's go. The thing I hate about Schroeder's picks is, like, how, like, it used to be if you wanted to know how to, like, cook something, like, you just go on the interweb and type it in and it would just give you the recipe. And then, like, after a while, like, people started writing their whole life story. Like, so I go on and I Google a recipe and I got to read like, where this person grew up and this and that and everything else. Well, I just want to know how to make some fucking scalloped potatoes. Like, I don't need to know your life story, whoever's posting this. And that's Schroeder's picks. He doesn't just say, okay, I got, Bills minus 10 this week. It's the whole history of this and that and everything else. And it's a fucking novel, you bastard. And usually I'm in a hurry when I'm trying to get your picks in. Put them at the top. Tell your story after.
I have no problem posting the picks only. My rationale is, being a data guy, I want you guys to know where the hell the picks are coming from.
I know. I'm just teasing.
There's say there's 1,000 people. I don't know, maybe 100 are playing, 40, whatever the number is. I don't know, but the more data I can share with the group, they can at least understand my rationale in taking a play. I was on the Giants plus 5.5. I probably was the only one out of the whole group that took the Giants. Everybody else was on the Titans. And,
not true.
It's one of those things. The uglier the team, the more money I'm putting on them. And next week, when I go over the plays I got for next week, it's all shit teams that nobody likes.
Yeah.
And that's usually where the value's at. So you have to think contrarian and you have to go with what Vegas needs, and you're going to win more than you lose when you do that.
Yeah.
And with Sports Insights, I have systems in there which have data, and I'd like to share that with everybody. But yeah, I get your point.
I know. I'm just teasing. I once sprained this thumb from scrolling on my phone to get to the picks.
Okay, Ray.
Couldn't golf for a week.
Come on now.
No, they're awesome. Like, Schroeder's picks are great.
That's Adam. Me and Schroeder have been on the same page from day one. It's just, I can understand what Schroeder's talking about, and Adam just zones out and goes and makes a bowl of scalloped potatoes.
Plus, I feel like shit if I lose a game, and Cazz will tell you this, Kenny, Rick, they're like, dude, you lost. So what? Get over it. I struggle when I release a play to everybody and I lose. I don't give a shit if I lose my own money on the play. But if there's 50, 100, 800, whatever the number is, people counting on me to give them a play and it loses, man, like, it makes me not want to post. Like, I get it. That's the nature of the business.
Yeah.
But in a way, sharing all that data is my rationale. Like, hey, here's the data. I just wrote a Stephen King novel. It shows this is the right play. And then if it loses, I'm like, well, the data was on my side. I showed you.
I know exactly what you're feeling, Schroeds. Like, when, at least for me, and I don't post a whole lot of picks, but when I do, the satisfaction I get for winning is like this much compared to the pain I feel for losing. And it's not because I lost. I feel horrible that other people did. So I completely, I get it. I absolutely get it. So let's talk about, week one and some of the value, because last week we talked about how you make a lot of money, not just in one, but throughout the year on the teams that the books have decided are going to be shitty, right? Like I used the Baltimore Orioles reference. In baseball, the Orioles are dramatically outproducing their pregame expectations. If you did nothing but bet on Orioles money line in every game this year, you'd be up 32 units right now. That's all you did. That just shows you how slow the books are to adjust to a team that's outperforming.
But Adam, I would say it's more about the public than the books. The books just are in the business of betting. So it's more of a fate of the public than the books. But
that's a fair point, Ray, because the public won't adjust. The books will. That's right. But whatever, the lines are still the lines, right? Like you can get them. And last week, we all talked about the teams that we thought were going to maybe outperform some expectations. Pacer, I think, made a really good call on the Colts, maybe not being as good as other people thought. Ray was on the Giants. I was with them on the Giants. I think the Jags, I really thought the Jags were going to win that game, but they didn't. But we had some pretty good value. The one thing that we were all wrong on was Seattle. Who the hell saw Geno Smith coming? Holy shit, did he look good? There was some big money to be made. And it's one of the things that I absolutely love about, all these books that are, they're all competing for business, right? Like as this is opening up everywhere, as this is opening up all over the place, the books are, the way they compete for your dollar is by opening lines that other books don't have, right? And if you're sharp and you see it and you spot it, you can do really, really well by taking advantage of their eagerness to get some lines out. So I know, it was a great reminder last week. Ray and I on the Bills game, we called Dawson Knox to get a touchdown, X. We called Zach Moss to get a touchdown, X. I think I said Isaiah McKenzie receiving yards.
Didn't call that. We had Allen Robinson.
Right. So 0 for 3 in that game. I couldn't possibly have got the game script more wrong. Like not possible. Yet anybody in inplayLIVE that bet live during the game made a boatload on that game, like an absolute boatload. And it's a really great example, right? Like for those of you listening who don't know about inplayLIVE, we're betting live while the games are happening. Right. So we were goose eggs on our pregame pick that game, like over. And we still made boatloads of money. And the reason that when we make a pregame pick here, it's because there's no games on, right? Like the reason we make pregame picks on the show is because that's all we can do. We can't make live bets because there's no games on. So just know that, the pregame stuff is kind of nothing. Very happy about the Danny Dimes pick, though, the over rushing yards for Daniel Jones. I hope everybody took that because I did say last week that was my favorite prop of the week, and that hit. So I hope everybody got that one.
Yeah, and just to tie in with the pregame, I've talked to Pace about this a lot, and I think hopefully you guys would agree with me on this. Most of us, that's all we know before inplayLIVE, right? It's pregame. Who do you like for this game? Who are you taking tomorrow? It's when you're talking around the water cooler, everyone's talking about pre-game picks. And you realize with a group like this, you don't care about your pregame. Yeah, I post pre-game picks, but I also put in there in my Stephen King novel that Adam loves to read every day. I put in there, please make sure Pace and Kenny's calls and even Adam's calls, whomever's calls live in the games, whoever's making them, we have certified pros that are screened making these calls. And there's a reason. We're not betting the team. We're betting the number. And it's different. It's not what team are you liking. It's what number are you liking. And it's a psychological mind shift to make you money when the books are wrong. And when you have hundreds of people looking at lines and sharing that data, it's picking money up off the ground. It really is.
It's one of the things, you guys, that I think is the most difficult for people to wrap their head around, is that understanding value and understanding the numbers is actually more important than understanding the teams or the sport. And I'll give you an example. I mean, Cazz, you talked about, when COVID first hit and you guys are betting on Korean baseball and things like that. One of my favorite stories about your group ever is that when COVID hit and there was no sports, you guys were waking up at 3 a.m. to bet on Australian rules football. And you didn't even know the fucking rules of Australian rules football. And you made piles of money because you understand the numbers and you understand value.
Yeah, that was Kenny. Kenny got that thing. And then we subscribed to this service where you could watch it. And we were getting bets in after they got the pass, because once in Australian rules football, once you complete the pass, you got to wait for everybody to shift. So you have almost 10 seconds before they do the next play. And we were getting bets in based on them already completing the pass. So it was fun for a while.
But it's a perfect example, you guys, of why wrapping your head around the value, wrapping your head around what the numbers are supposed to be. And I've used this example, so forgive me for doing it, but whenever anybody asks me what inplayLIVE, I just say, there's only 2 things you need to understand. Number 1, this is a commitment of time. You have to put a lot of time in, right? You cannot half-ass this. If you're not going to put the time in, go somewhere else. This is not for you. And then the second thing is, if you answer this question correctly, I know you're set up for inplayLIVE. If I gave you a 6-sided dice and I gave you 10-1, if you could roll a 6, do you take that bet? And some people say, well, no, because I'll probably lose. Some people say, yeah, I'd try because I'm getting 10-1 for something I should only get 6-1. The correct answer is neither of those. The correct answer is I'll do it, but only if you let me do it as many times as possible.
Exactly.
Because from a statistic perspective, if you do that 10,000 times, it is virtually impossible for you to not make a boatload of money. Virtually impossible. This is what Vegas was built on, you guys. Like Vegas, the books, everything. What they were built on was by getting just a little bit better odds than they should for the risk that they are taking.
Exactly.
And when we do this, that's what you learn. You learn how to get the other side of that. You learn how to get the advantage that's normally reserved for the house. And that is inplayLIVE in a nutshell. Understanding value, commitment of time. That's it. That's what we do. So, if anybody on the line is looking at joining, if you meet those 2 criteria, it's probably a good idea.
Time is big. I tell everybody too, I'm like, you can't just bet the losers. You got to bet the winners. And a guy will be like, oh, I'm doing so well. I'm like, well, when did you? Well, I did it for an hour on Tuesday. I'm like, well, we had a little bit of a rough day Tuesday, but you weren't there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when we crushed it. You got to do the time. That's very, very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like the example you used with the dice. Like if you're rolling the die, you're going to lose a lot, but
5 out of 6
long
times
run, you're going to be up. And look at field goal. And with the first week in college football, we lost the field goal, and I won't go into the strategy, but there's a certain strategy that we use there, and it did great on the second week. So there's a lot of things that we talk about live that make sense, but you won't win 100% of the time. It's about the longevity of staying true to the number.
You have to celebrate every good bet. You can't just celebrate the wins. If you make a good bet and you had the edge, then just celebrate that and don't worry about the outcomes. You can't play based on outcomes. You have to play based on value in the moment.
He says it the bet all the time. That was a great bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And the answer to that question is, well, would you have made it again? Well, of course I would. Well, then what are you upset about? So it didn't win. Like, get him next time. Yeah.
Move on.
It's a great exercise. Something that Azzy taught me is at the end of a day, go and review the wagers you made. There was a day, I can't remember which one, but it was a day, somewhere in the last couple of weeks where I really felt like I did a good job, and I ended up losing a little bit of money, like a tiny bit, but I was either even or lost a little bit. And then I went back and I looked through every bet I made, and I said, well, which one would you take back? And I went, I wouldn't. Like, they were all good. It just didn't hit. Like, sometimes that happens. You guys reminded me of something, like when we were talking about the pregame picks that weren't happening. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my first year with inplayLIVE is if I made pregame picks, I was too loyal to them and I wouldn't get off of them when the game script or the game was going away from those picks. I would still double down and try to keep going with what I thought was going to happen. And then I started to give that up and to just go, okay, my pregame picks, they're over the second I make them. Like they're there, they're like, I'll cheer for them, whatever, but in no way am I going to let that influence what I'm going to do during the game. And I think that, of all the lessons I've learned, that's one of my biggest lessons. Guys, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned since joining inplayLIVE? Like mistakes that you made when you were losing that you don't do anymore. Like what are some of those things? And I'm talking about like between the ears, things like that.
Well, for me, I know that I had a coming to Jesus moment with Kenny. And I used to have a really bad problem with taking heavy money line favorites and calling that free money. Example, the Buffalo Bills, when they're 17.5-point favorites against Jacksonville last year. And the money line's like minus 100,000 to win $100 or whatever it is. It was some crazy number. And sometimes I would get, fascinated by like, there's no way they're going to lose. So I would put big money on something like that, which is an absolutely terrible thing to do. And at that point, it's having the mind shift to where you try to take a better number or plus odds instead of doing stuff like that. Managing your bankroll is by far the most important thing with any strategy that we've got in this group and what we do. And you can't manage your bankroll if you're taking heavy favorites and terrible lines. That negates the whole point of our group.
By the way, and like you guys all know what a big Bills fan I am, and Pacer always teases me that I still, bet with my heart too much. Ray can vouch for this. I took a live money line bet on the Jags that game and made a boatload on that game.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah. Sold my soul. I had to go bathe myself in bleach and tomato juice and shit after, but whatever. It was worth it.
If you're right, who gives a shit? You can. Yeah.
Well, I was still cheering for myself to lose those bets.
Then it's exactly. Then it's somewhat of a win-win, or I guess maybe a lose-lose. But
can't bet with your heart. You cannot bet with your heart ever.
No, for sure. What are some of the other lessons, Cazz? Anything that you did early on after joining IPL that you sort of have given up and walked away from?
The best thing you can do is just bet what Kenny bets. Just bet what Kenny bets.
Kenny and Pace are like, I have to say, watching them, particularly on the college streams this year, like they are feeling it. Like and it's not just they're in the zone. Like they are so much better at this than they were even a year ago. It's like they were really impressive streams. Again, not that you win every bet, but their tightness on the value and their awareness of the value, I think, is the best it's ever been. They've been just awesome streams.
Well, and that's the beauty of it. Like what you said, just do what they do. Yeah. You can do that. Like I'm getting
my brother, baby Cazz. My brother, baby Cazz. He's probably watching, but he's probably one of the fastest success stories that I've seen. And got him in, and he had a very minimal bankroll. And he just bet what Kenny bet, and he made so much money in the first 6 months. It's just, It took me 2.5 years to make that money. It's crazy. He goes, just bet what Kenny bets. And I'm like, that's it. But now, a guy who never bet a game in his life, so he didn't know what a minus 6.5 was. And it's really funny. Early on, when you teach him how to middle basketball, he was betting the opposite. So he was going minus 7.5 plus 5.5. He was like, how come you guys aren't betting this? I'm like, you can't win both sides, man.
That's the rarely used reverse middle.
Yeah. But he was doing that a lot in the beginning but he didn't have any bad habits to break either. So which made it, easy for him to win money when you don't have bad habits. And I've signed some recent friends up and they have bad habits and they keep doing the same old crap. And I'm like, dude, you did this for years. You made no money. That it didn't work. Why are you still doing it? You're paying $200 a month or whatever people pay to sign up or whatever. And you're doing the same shit you used to do. Save yourself the money.
Yeah, so, exactly. exactly. Yeah.
That just goes to show you, like with inplayLIVE, you don't really have to know a lot about sports.
Nope.
There's the teachable classes are organic. They're always changing, and it gives you a foundation of what to go off of. And then obviously the community. So you don't have to be a sports guru to make money here.
I giggle all the time. I mean, the only reason Kenny knows one player in the NHL is he Googled who's the highest paid player in the NHL. So he knows that Connor McDavid is the highest paid player in the league. And the only reason he Googled that is because his goal is to make more money than McDavid this year betting. Like it's absolutely hilarious. Or Ray and I, like our most profitable sport is college basketball. I couldn't name one college basketball player right now. Not one.
The less you know.
Either. You didn't know what teams were. It's funny.
Yeah. They only play for a year anyway, and they go to the league. It's hard to remember all
the good ones. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, and that is the beauty of this. You become a slave to the number and a slave to value. And it's like once you sort of crack that code, it was sort of like when I was playing cornhole for the second time, and then I figured out how to spin the bag right. Just clicked. It's like watching a kid ride a bike, right? All of a sudden they go from all wiggly to that's what in play. That was my experience. So
yeah, you're a quick learner.
That's what they say. Don't tell me, tell your friends.
Yeah.
There you go. Guys, we gotta end the show with one really quick story. And it's pretty ridiculous. So this is from the first inplayLIVE summit. I'm going to tell a scaled down version of this story. So we're all at Pacers Place, and I actually want you guys to chime in because there is a bunch of kind of misremembering how this night went. We may have been a little bit inebriated at some point. So Ray calls me over at this little mixer, and he's talking to this guy. He's like, "You got to meet this guy." And so I go over and he introduces me, and I go, "I know you." I said, "You're the guy that played Elliot on ET." And he goes, "Yeah, that's right." And Ray's like, "What? What are you talking about?" Ray was more blown away that I knew that it was Elliot from ET. Everybody's saying tell the unfiltered. I'm not telling the unfiltered version of the story. But anyway, so Ray is blown away that I know that this is Elliot from ET. And then so we have a couple more drinks, and we go on our way. And so it starts out with that. And then we get in this limo. I don't know why Pace had these limos going, and we're driving through Stanley Park. For those of you that know Vancouver, it's this gorgeous park. It's nighttime. We're riding this limo and listening to music and laughing and whatever. And then somebody's got to get out and take a leak. So a couple people need to go pee against a tree or whatever. And then Ray and I stayed in the limo, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Like all hell breaks loose. There's people screaming and all this shit. Somebody pokes their head in the limo and says, "Holy cow, a coyote just bit Pacer's girlfriend on the leg and stole her purse." And I looked at Ray and I said, "Ray, did you just hear somebody say that a coyote bit Lacey and stole her purse?" He goes, "Yeah." So we got to go see this. And then I want you guys to tell the rest of the story. Because in Ray and Cazz, you guys start, well, you agreed that somebody needed to hunt this coyote down is basically what happened, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Well, I thought Ray was out taking a leak. And the coyote
I was in there, but my first reaction was, we got to go find this coyote. Like he can't just like put it in his pocket. Like he's got to do something with that purse. Eventually he's going to realize this isn't a huge asset to him.
There was a guy peeing, and the coyote ran up to the guy, and I'm like, the guy didn't even move. And I'm like, he literally went right up to him. Like, maybe he should at least put that little thing away before the coyote bites him. And then, and then like 25 seconds later, somebody dipped their head into the limo and goes, Pace's girlfriend just got bit by a coyote. So we all went out there, and then it was like, we had the iPhone torches going on, hunting down the coyote. And there were actually, I think I seen the coyote over there, but I don't want to go over there by myself with the coyote. Cazz versus the coyote, not a good story. So I got a couple other people, and we went over there, and we're like, hooting.
A couple? We formed like a full search party.
It wouldn't budge. And then finally, out of the blue, the thing just got up and ran away and left the purse there. And we covered it. And then somebody had to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot and everything else. But it was the craziest thing. It was great. I still have I have a picture of the puncture wound.
And the like, God. I was in no condition to go on a coyote hunt. And the next thing like you two donkeys we got to go get that coyote. And I was like,
oh yeah, well,
let's go get a coyote.
They're not very big dogs.
No, but they're like, it's still like I was, I wasn't exactly in the mood to hunt a fucking dog. And then, but the other part that I remember is when we first saw the dog, it still had its purse in its mouth. Yeah. And Cazz just goes, if we can get that dog barking, he'll have to drop the purse. And then, so everybody's screaming at this, this fucking coyote. And then it sure dropped the purse and off we go and on with our night. That's the scaled down version of that story. My God.
Yeah, that's the PG-13 version, which it has.
My God, what a night.
Well, now that we're done telling fibs, let's
nobody didn't kill a coyote. Nobody killed anything. Mm-hmm. Relax. And
the coyote survived.
If Pete is watching, the coyote's fine.
He just ran off.
The coyote is Vancouver probably
in the basement of Pacers building now. He's well fed. He's super happy. All the neighbors pet him every day. Hardly ever bites anybody. Huge comeback story. If Coyote and Pacer can bury the hatchet, then anything can happen. Anything can. It's like Rocky in Russia when he solved the U.S.-Russia conflict. That was Pacer and the Coyote.
The Russian crowd started cheering for Rocky.
I know, it's unbelievable. I still can't believe it happened.
Nobody saw that coming.
Eating heroin. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Adam and Ray, real quick, if you had any pre-game player props for this week handy. I saw somebody ask in chat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ray.
I don't have any props at this stage. I've got a lean for the week. I mean, do you guys want to focus on this Thursday nighter, or do you want to just?
I got a pretty good one. Yeah, I'm just looking up the line right now, but I've got a player that I really, really like. So I don't know if anybody watched the Chargers Raiders game this past week, but it was very interesting to see what happened after Keenan Allen went down. They started throwing to this Carter kid, and he looked absolutely great. DeAndre Carter. I can't remember how many targets he had, but he had 64 yards. I think he had 64 yards and a tutty on 4 targets, all of which came after Keenan Allen went down. They didn't even look at Mike Williams. Didn't do a lot there, but this Carter looks like a really, really dynamic football player. His number, well, they don't even have him listed on 365.
No, they don't.
Bastards. Yeah, they don't even have him. Hopefully they bring him up, but I really, really like Carter for some production this week. He looked great. Like, he looked like a football player. They didn't skip a beat with Allen out. So that's going to be my pick this week. I don't see a line anywhere. Hopefully it comes out, but DeAndre Carter is my pick of the week.
Receiving yards over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and his anytime touchdown numbers is pretty good. Like, his anytime tutty number, well, it's not that great, plus 260. So I probably wouldn't do the anytime tutty, but I don't know about you guys. I feel like Arizona gave Kansas City absolutely nothing. There's no quarterback in football against, it was better against the blitz than Patrick Mahomes, and they blitzed him 51% of the time, and all 5 touchdowns came against the blitz.
Yeah. I think this Chargers D is going to give them a lot more problems than last week. I'm guessing the public is going to pound that over, and there'll be a little bit of an op on the under, but you usually wait until tomorrow to decipher that data. Hey, Sean?
Yeah, so when these lines come out a week in advance, the sharps pound the lines, right? So that's why they're called sharps. They're actually sharpening the line, and those lines get taken down for a while so that the books could readjust to get the line as sharp as possible. Some of the things I saw on Sports Insights and the data that I really like, and again, this is pregame stuff. Anything could happen, but the early numbers like Chicago over, the Bengals over, Carolina against the spread, the Jets against the spread. And personally, Aaron Rodgers looked like crap last week, and I can't see him. I can't see him playing bad 2 weeks in a row. The line is huge against the Bears, but as Aaron Rodgers said in Soldier Field, right down the street here, he said, "I still own you," and he does. He owns us, and I hate to say that out loud, but he owns us, and I think there's going to be something there in that game with Rodgers. So
he's still missing one of his best receivers, though. Also, so Lazard is out. He's been out, and I'm sure he's not going to be out for another couple of weeks, I think.
And 10 points. 10 points is a lot
if that first pass is completed.
And 10 points is a lot to give too. So the 10-point factor is a huge amount. But you got the Bears coming off an emotional win, and you got the Packers coming off I don't even know if you call that a game. Whatever they tried to do, it was just one of the worst showings. So, that's where I'm leaning early pregame, and I'll share any data. As it updates.
Green Bay generally gets pumped in week 1. Do they not? Like,
they're slow starters.
Well, yeah, because Rodgers doesn't play preseason. He has no idea who any of these receivers are. But man, 10 points. Nobody's laying that. Who the fuck would hit Green Bay -10? Would you?
Well, I think that's sort of what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. The uglier the line, the more chance I think it has to win. I'm not going to say that that's going to happen, but I like the Packers in that spot. Now, what I really like is a teaser to try to get that down to a money line. Take a 10-point teaser with a couple other teams. Something like that. It's still early in the week. I want to see where the money comes in. Right now, there's not enough of an edge. But I will tell you right now, over 80% of the public is against Carolina and the Jets. And there's over 30,000 bets already placed there. Wow. And then when you take a team that has finished under in the first week, and I have some more statistics with it. I don't want to go too long here because Adam will kill me. But that's where the Chicago and the Bengals over is a play based on their first week performances with their totals. It's a 70% system, 700 sample size.
And we're supposed to get good weather this week, not like last week. It
was a monsoon here in Soldier Field. The rain was just insane.
Yeah.
Just looking at these games, I got to think that the Bengals are the most public side, given what happened. The look ahead line, I think, was Cowboys favored by 2. Now it's moved to Bengals -7.5, but McCarthy could not look more inept, and you lose Dak Prescott. To me, this looks like one of those games where I don't care how public it is, Cowboys are not keeping that close. How do you decipher that when you end up with a super, super public side? Is it just a leave for you if it doesn't fit your eye, or what do you do?
They lost to the Steelers. The Steelers are terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
are they though?
I don't think
they're lying to the Steelers.
I don't know. That's the fun right now. Nobody knows whether someone is really shit the bed or whether somebody we're still trying to figure out, are the Bengals not as good as we think, or are the Steelers better than we think?
Yeah.
There's so much of that right now. That's the fun of it. And now all these books are posting week 3 lines ahead of time too. So that's I think a thing that's coming with more volume. We're going to see more opportunities like that.
Absolutely. Guys, with that said, we're at the top of the hour. Thanks for coming on. This was a fun show. Thanks to you both. I know you're both busy. So really appreciate you giving some of your time. We're excited for next week too. I think we've got our guests lined up for next week, and it's a story you guys aren't going to want to miss. So hopefully we get him lined up. He's just dealing with some stuff last week, but hopefully get him on soon. Guys,
you're talking about Weird Al, right?
Weird Al. Yeah. Weird Al.
Yeah.
If you're not following us on social media, please do on both Instagram and Twitter at Ray and Adam Show. And if you're interested in joining inplayLIVE, we've got a promo code for you. Go to the Twitter page. It's under my pinned tweet. So at Ray and Adam Show. get on there and it'll save you $200 a year on your membership by using the promo code. So do it, guys. Thanks again for an awesome show. And let's keep her going. Week 1 NFL and week 2 college were both really, really good weeks. And we're almost at the Holy Grail, October. October is the best month of the year for sports betting, and we're almost there. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
This was the Ray and Adam Show, brought to you by inplayLIVE. Sign up now for inplayLIVE by using the exclusive Ray and Adam link and promo code.